Today's topic is going to be Rumbles and how to do them. It's almost as bad as doing a submission in the Royal Rumble. Oh wait, I know two people have done both of those things. Alright, let's go. So with the case of the Rumble, we're going to be looking at the two beginning entrants, the entrances of others, eliminations, corner work is what we're going to call it, the final competitors, and then the final two, and the stories that they can tell within that. So I reviewed a few Rumbles, and the way it seems to work is it's either a heel or a babyface, or two baby faces. It's usually never two heels. It doesn't really give people that much to be excited about, so I think it seems to be like you want to get the people excited, and most importantly, you want to show them how you can win. So each person should get a little bit of a shine as well as trying to eliminate the other person. Once it starts to get to be the final 10 seconds, it starts to build to a moment of anticipation for the crowd, so their interest is piqued. So each entrant in and of itself is a moment. Even if they've never heard of the person, that's still a big deal to them. So the first thing that you want to worry about is your entrance. And if you've already been the first or the second competitor, you've gotten a regular entrance and they've already explained, oh, you're going to have a long journey. So if you are not one of the first two competitors, your goal is to get out there because the match is already happening. It's almost like you're late. So when you get in, you're the person in movement. So the person in movement is now going to come in, try to bump everybody, try to hit them. Don't always have to bump. And I would actually recommend not bumping. I would recommend selling away and selling on the run, so that way you can manipulate the spaces around you. But depending on if you're the third or the fourth, it can be okay as long as everyone else knows their place in the Rumble. So when you're putting together a Rumble match, you always want to see who's going to be in the ring with you and what they're willing to do with you. So if you're lucky enough to find a handful of people or just one person that's willing to come in and bump for you, you want to establish your moveset. You don't want to come in and do as many things as you can possibly do, but you want to come in and do the one or two things that you do very well. Get your main thing over that you want to get over. Please, dear God, do not climb the top rope and do a 450 splash. It's really not smart. It doesn't really make you win. People, dumb. God, do a top rope move. It's almost as bad as doing a submission in the Royal Rumble. Oh wait, I know two people have done both of those things. Alright, let's go. So after entrances, we're going to do eliminations now. So eliminations can occur by going over the top rope and both feet touch the floor. So you can work with both of them. You're going to be able to manipulate, oh, he went through the bottom rope, he went through the middle rope. Oh, she went over the top but only one foot touched the ground. Or, oh, they landed on their hands. And if you're Zach Gowen, I think you automatically win the Royal Rumble. So the most important thing about eliminations is going to be the safety. You want to make sure that you can do this safely. If being uncomfortable going over the top rope is very reasonable. It's a very far drop. It's like 10 feet if you actually think of the math on it. So it's reasonable, but we're all professionals, and I think every single person should be able to go over it within reason. I think there are certain circumstances where Yokozuna doesn't have to take a huge beal over the top rope. One of my recommendations of being able to be eliminated, this is a little bit of an extra one, is have someone set you up on the top where you're sitting on the top rope and your feet are on the second rope. Have them hit you, and then you can kind of tumble over to the other side of the apron, so that way when they go to kick you or they punch you, all you have to do is take the drop down. It's a little bit safer, and it removes all opportunity for you to be hurt within reason. So for eliminations, when you're in the ring, it's actually really important to know who's going to be eliminating you and if it's important. Because if someone's supposed to set a new record and you're not there to be eliminated by them and you got eliminated by someone else, it messes something up along the lines of the story that they're trying to tell. So just make sure that the story is not who's being eliminated by who, and if it is, make sure that you get eliminated by your person. So when you're looking to be eliminated, think, okay, so once Cal Creed comes in, I need to be eliminated before the next person comes out. Speaking of safety, when you do go to get eliminated and you're doing it safely, you might want to incorporate a little bit of a spot, or you might want to put over a move of theirs. So when you go to do it, make sure you're in an isolated corner or side of the ring, so that way no one is going to accidentally bump into you, run into you. It's not in the middle of someone's entrance, and you don't want to be eliminating someone else at the same time, or else it's going to get overlooked. They're not going to notice it, and it's going to potentially take away from the person coming into the ring. Are you eliminating anybody? Is it going to be just you? Is it going to be a tag team partner? Is it going to be a group of people? You have to determine which way is the best way to do it for each individual circumstance. If it is just going to be you, the goal should be to get over one of your moves. That way you can kind of establish that, hey, this move eliminated someone from a Rumble. It essentially could beat somebody. It doesn't always make wrestling sense to have someone take a finisher, and then stand up. But in this circumstance, it makes perfect sense to be able to go through and have that happen. If you're not getting a move over, you might want to consider if you can get your personality over. So the one that I think about when it comes to this is when Maven drop kicked Undertaker over. Maven's look of surprise, as well as the Undertaker's look of surprise, put over the fact that this is a big deal and it's like a moment. I don't even know who won that Rumble. If the moment is more so about you being eliminated, think about when you're running in like Santino Marella. He comes in, he gets taken right out, and he's standing up, he's like, I wasn't ready. It's a really big deal, and that's more memorable than most of the moments throughout the match in and of itself. The story, more so than anything, is remembered, as opposed to what move it was. When you're in the Rumble and nobody's being eliminated, no one else is coming, there's nothing much going on, the fans are just watching. They're watching all the commotion. So what usually happens is each person goes to a separate corner. So there's plenty of space to move around, and there's plenty enough space to make sure everyone has their own space to not get stepped on. But once it starts to get more people, you're going to have to break it down again. So you're going to have to use the centers of the ropes. You really don't want to have more than 5-6 people in there. Usually you'll have like a little bit of a bigger star come through every few entrances, so that way they can eliminate a few of the people, or they can do like a tag team move to get somebody out, so that way it starts to make space for the next few set of people coming through. And you're always trying to win, so you're trying to eliminate somebody. But the biggest important thing of safety is do not bump. You don't really have to bump in a Rumble. It's not safe. There's too many people. You can't communicate with everyone in the ring. So when someone new comes in, they're going to come in and they're going to know that they can bump people, because that's the movement, is everyone's kind of feeding towards that. If you ever chop somebody in a Rumble, expect it back. It's a nice little reaction, but it's artificial. They're reacting to sound. It's the same thing as if you started yelling at somebody and they yelled at you back. You don't really need to chop. I actually go through Rumbles trying not to chop people, and same thing with Battle Royals. I try to avoid it, to challenge myself to get better at striking. So I'll throw forearms, I'll throw kicks, I'll try to eliminate people in creative ways. Oh yeah, go slow. You don't have to rush. If you just punch, and you're always going punch, it starts to not mean anything, and you're just wasting your time at that point. Oh, this is the last entrant. Here it is. We're almost at the end. Actually, every other entrant is a pretty big deal too, but the final one is the final one. It's more definitive. It adds that sentence structure, the period. But when you're starting to put the end together, you want to begin with the end in mind. It's being proactive, so you have to know what story you're telling before you can begin to tell it. So who's in the ring? Consider this to be the go home. So this is like the final comeback, or it's starting to take on the heat, so you can bring up the babyface. He's all the way at the bottom of the mountain, but he still has to fight to reach that crescendo to be able to get there. So what story are we telling? What moment are we building to? Who's the final four? And now who's the final two? These are equally big moments that create doubt, but I feel like it's not that they're equally big, it's that they're equally important. So you're going to have one from here to there. It's elevating is what it is. It's telling that story, and you're getting closer and closer to the conclusion of the event. So the final four, you can usually start to do more spot stuff. You can start to have more direction of where you're specifically going and have specific moves being important, so you can do more around the ring because there's less people and there's no one else coming in at that point. Fans have probably been there for a while, so you don't want to take too long on the end of it. You only want to stretch it out as much as you have to, but you don't want them to get bored. Okay, so all the moments in a Rumble that I could come up with are right here. The moments in the Rumble will be every time someone is almost eliminated, they'll either go through the middle, the bottom, or if they'll hang on, they'll barely hang on, or they'll do the Kofi Kingston and they'll land miraculously on their own. They'll have the Shawn Michaels where they go to get thrown out and they come back in. That's a moment. If someone is attacked and they're able to come back in the end, but they were never actually eliminated, that's a big moment, and it's like a big hurrah for the good guys. Is someone debuting? Who's the new entrant? Did a smaller person just eliminate a bigger person? Do these guys know each other? Do the good guys all realize that they're good guys and that there's one big guy that's kind of a douche? They're probably going to beat him up, huh? So the heels teamed up, but one is probably going to turn on the other because they're all vindictive and backstabbers. Is someone cutting a promo all the way down to the ring? Is someone coming out and singing the whole time or dancing? Little stuff like that. That's kind of a gimmick. So when those people come in, they usually get thrown out almost right away, just because what they're doing is getting their character over, and it doesn't matter which move they would try to do. They're already being established. So for the most part, those guys come in and get tossed right out. what this does is it actually gives them a little bit more to complain about. It gives them a little bit more sizzle to their steak, as opposed to actually winning the Rumble, which they would be able to use the same way someone else would use. But now more people have different ways to go. So I didn't win. I was robbed of an opportunity, and then it gives them an opportunity to complain about someone else, the person who eliminated them, the person who won, so on and so forth. So that way they can begin to tell different stories and build up to what they're going towards next. You're getting hit, sell. That's what makes it take so long, is it's not... That was loud, that hurt. Ouch. So, boom, sit there. Boom, sit there. No, it's boom, and then you just...